What's going on, everyone? You're listening to 99 Yards here with your host, Adibot. And today we got a special guest on the show. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
All right, yo. Everybody knows me as Mr. Lightwork. If you don't know, I have a TikTok. My TikTok has blown up and everything under Mr.Lightwork48. A little background on me. I played high school ball, wrestled, track. I did all that. I was a 2-star athlete in high school. Did not understand the ranking system. All right. But I knew I was ranked. You know what I'm saying? Had big time offers from North Carolina, NC State, James Madison, ultimately choosing Kent State University. Played there for 4 years, had my shot at the NFL. Didn't work out. And now we're here, man. Now we're here.
Yes, we are. And I've been rocking with your page on TikTok. That's how I found out about you since I think around 10K, and I saw that it was nearing 100K.
Yeah,
and congrats to that. Congratulations.
Thanks,
on that.
man. Thanks, man.
Yeah. And you blew up quick. I mean, it wasn't like it took a long time. It was like I saw you about a month ago at 10K, and I was like, dang, it felt like that.
Yeah, I woke up one day, man. I looked at my phone. I'm seeing 100. Well, it says 99 plus. So I'm I'm like 99 plus what? And it just blew up from there, man. I was just amazed.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and get into all of that. If you're on Anchor, we have to get a little 30-second announcement here because I do like to get paid from these. I do enjoy getting paid from these. But if you're on YouTube or anything else, we'll get straight into it. So let's go ahead and start off with your playing days in high school, right? Yeah. So you said that you did multiple sports other than football, but what really attracted you to football?
Oh man, that's a family sport. So the first person that I can remember playing was my uncle. So when he was playing, everybody talked about him, how he played nose guard and fullback and linebacker. They talked him up so much that the family just followed. Like my oldest cousin, he played. Then my next oldest cousin, he played, and it just kind of trickled down the line. So when I turned, I want to say 5, my cousin was like, well, they called me Wooney back in the day when I was younger. It's a family nickname. So he was like, Wooney, I'm gonna go play football. And I was like, well, sure, I'm gonna do it too. And I run out there and I was terrible. You know what I'm saying? I was terrible. I was a kid though.
Yeah, you said you were 5, right?
Right, I was 5. I was 5 when I started. And from ever since that day, I don't think it's been a summer where I have not played football or not thought about football or anything like that.
So did you always just so it was always your family that just got you into it? Was there someone in your family that you looked like other than who'd you say again
my uncle was your uncle? My uncle started it. But from there, the family just followed. The family just followed that.
So was it more of was there anyone pushing you into it, like your parents and anything?
Well, my dad never played sports. He was not an athlete himself, but my mom was an athlete. She did softball and different things like that. So being athletic was a part of me. Now, the football aspect, I was never pushed to do it. It was, hey, if you want to do it, you can do it. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. But once I got to hitting, it was I loved it every single day. Yeah.
Were your parents ever trying were they ever nervous of you, or was it just because it was already part of the family? It was just they didn't really care.
They didn't care. They didn't have a fear in their heart. Even when I got injured, they didn't even touch the field.
So what was who was a player that you kind of looked up to?
Oh,
or
man.
Try to model your game after.
There's so many. So the way I played was I wanted to be hard hitting. So the player I took after was Ray Lewis.
Okay.
Now, once I started to understand that the football history, and I went back, I looked at Jack Ham. I looked at Mike Singletary. I looked at so many great linebackers, Lawrence Taylor. Looked at these guys, and I tried to model my game after them.
Yeah, I mean Ray Lewis. Yeah, he was a dog back then.
An animal.
You think he's the greatest linebacker or middle linebacker of all time?
No question, hands down.
Yeah,
no question.
I've seen people try to put Bobby Wagner, Luke Kuechly up there, but he's nah. Ray Lewis was just led teams.
Yeah, I think Luke was a better athlete.
Yeah, he was smarter, maybe.
Yeah, he was smarter, but I don't think he had.
He retired early though.
Yeah,
Patrick Willis.
Yeah, but Pat had injuries, so I understand.
Pat had injuries, I think. Yeah. But yeah, so later on getting to high school, did you like already know? So by this time you'd already played football a good amount because you said you started from 5.
Yeah.
But did you know that like if there was one sport you had to pick, did you know it was gonna be football at that point?
Yes. So I wrestled in middle school. Mm-hmm. Again, starting out, I was terrible. But you know, it only took me a year to gain and understand wrestling to the point where I started to dominate. Mm-hmm. But if I had to choose, or if they was like, yo, you have to pick one or the other, I was gonna pick football no matter what. Mm-hmm. You know.
Yeah. And so I'm just gonna backtrack a little. Where are you from? Like just all
right. So I was born in Hampton, Virginia, mm-hmm. but I was mainly raised in Norfolk, Virginia, and Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Okay. Yeah. So the reason I asked that was because I'm from Texas, right? So basically the competition here is like a lot. So what was like the competition like up there? Because I think the sports are like, it's of course competitive, but like, you know.
Okay, so from what I know about Texas, I had a lot of college teammates from Texas. So the way it's set up for them compared to us is they have spring ball. Okay, mm-hmm. They play football in the spring. We don't have that.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? We don't have that at all.
Oh, that's surprising to me.
Right. So if you talent-wise, you really separated yourself just off talent. Yeah. You know, a lot of kids weren't putting in the off-season work mm-hmm. like other states, like Florida and Texas and Georgia. Like, we don't have the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So when you look at the competition, there really was none, you know, mm-hmm. competition-wise, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I think Virginia's like, or at least north, it's kind of like more of baseball. What else was there up north? Maybe hockey a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I know Texas, right as you said that you had no spring ball, that caught me off guard because here every spring, like all I'm hearing about athletes posting is just the spring ball highlights. Yeah, so
right.
So yeah, so back to high school, right? So like were you like the star player on your team? In a way?
Yeah, I was a star player. So my freshman year I come in, I'm big-headed. Like mm-hmm. I'm big-headed because I was a star in 8th grade. So when mm-hmm. I come in, you can't tell me anything. Like I know everything. Yeah. So when I first got to high school, you know, our middle linebacker on varsity got hurt. So they mm-hmm. threw me into the spotlight, like go get out there. And let me tell y'all something, it's a world of reckoning. Like I got knocked down mm-hmm. so many times.
Oh yeah.
It woke me up to realize I wasn't ready. Mm-hmm. You know, my sophomore year, that's when I started to blossom. And my junior year, that's when I really got on the main stage.
Yeah. So now did your coaches like kind of like play, or you know how some coaches like they'll like push the star players, if you want to say, a little, like were you pushed like a lot like throughout your high school?
I was pushed, but I was also treated special, you know. Mm-hmm. When I'm talking about special, like I'm gonna tell you this story.
Okay.
One time we get into we're at practice, we're mm-hmm. slugging it out, like we're bad, like it's just a bad mm-hmm. day. And you know, my coach Clark, shout out to Coach Clark, he wants to do Simon Says. I'm pissed off on the day, like I don't want to do this, like it's wet, it's muddy, like I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So we go through it. It's probably like 2 minutes into it, and I'm like, bro, like whatever he says, I'm just like, hold on, let me cancel that. So I'm like, bro, whatever. Like, okay, I'm done. I'm out. Like,
yeah.
So he's like, look at y'all leader. Like he's pointing me out and everything. Like, I'm like, bro, I don't care. And he's yelling at me, and I'm just like not listening. So I take my gloves off and I just throw them over the fence. Like it's like a fence.
Oh, yeah.
Where like our practice field goal is, and I just throw them over the fence and walk off. My coach jumps the fence, grabs the gloves, walks me over to the flag post, and he makes everybody else runs while I watch.
That's interesting.
Right. And I'm like, well, why didn't I run? And what he was trying to teach me is that if you do it, they'll follow. And I didn't understand that at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like it's if I'm slacking, they're gonna slack.
Okay, so he's trying to instill leadership in a way.
Right.
Yeah. It's still kind of interesting that he didn't make you run. But that's why I'm trying to wrap my head around, because I know people at least I played a little bit in middle school, but of course I stopped. But basically it could be the most I know my friend we were in a class together and he played basketball, but he would get in trouble in class and then spend 5 laps up and down.
Right.
And it could be the simplest things. Luckily I played O-line for whenever I played, so we got away if we're slacking a little bit, whatever. The coaches were yeah, y'all can, you know what I mean? The conditioning was not, it did not look fun, at least for us, watching the skill players at least. But so okay, so from your school, did you already have any athletes that made it big?
Well, we didn't have nobody that made it big at the time. Our biggest guy was Marcus Hampton. He ended up passing away before he ended up taking the going to Virginia Tech. And we all knew that he was going to be the first Michael Vick, or what I'm saying? He was that good. Then we had guys. We had a guy named Rodney Landers. He ended up playing in NFL. But at the time he's graduating and then going to college. So it's well, what happened to him? And and then you look up one day and he's like, oh, what? Hey man, that's Rodney. I played with him. That's probably the biggest name from my first high school. So that's probably the biggest names from my first high school.
What about just in surrounding high schools? Did you ever have to play versus anybody?
Oh man. The biggest names we had to play against was Devion Simmons. He was ranked number 1 in the nation as inside linebacker. Number 1 in the nation. He was all world. Picture a man that's 6'1", 250 that runs a 4.3. It's unheard of.
That's scary. That is scary.
But that's the type of talent that we were going against. And then also on the same team, we had to play against the number 1 sophomore who was in my class, Percy Harvin. So he was electrifying. We also my other teammate Damian McDaniels. He was ranked, I think, number 3 in the state at wide receiver. I think he was maybe 50th in the nation or something like that. So it was a lot of talent that I had to face. On one team. So
because at least for our school, I mean, we're kind of looked like, at least our our league or whatever you want to call it, the division or whatever. Where I'm from, our school basically just blows the talent out of the water, because we just had a player go to the NFL, Nick Bolton, 2nd round draft pick. And then we also have Marvin Mims, who just broke an Oklahoma receiving record for a freshman. So our talent is just crazy, but not much other than that. I mean, there's players like Jay Ajayi who came out of here, but the talent is just So I'm guessing that was probably the team that you just mentioned was probably the scariest team you had to face, or most prepared.
Yeah,
prepared
for my first 2. Well, my sophomore and my junior year.
What was that like going into those games?
It was don't lose by so many points.
Oh, okay.
Really, it's crazy how you go through. You look at your season, and all the teams are on the sheet. And you're like, oh man, that's a win. That's a win. That's a win. We're gonna go undefeated. And then you look at this one team, and you're just yeah, that's a loss. And you knew it. And you knew it. It doesn't matter how hard you practiced. Didn't matter how hard you prepared. Their coach and their team were light years ahead of everybody. You know, they ran like a college program in high school. You know, so it was crazy. It was crazy.
So I want to move on to college, or at least the recruiting process or whatever, because I think I've watched a couple videos on you with the recruiting process that you made, and I looked into it a little bit. So I did look at the 24/7 report, I think, on your 24/7 or 24/7 whatever, and it was 2-star rating. And what was interesting is that you played running back in high school, right?
Yes, I also played.
So where did the defensive tackle come into play? Because that's complete.
It's all right. Okay. Yeah. So you want me to start from recruiting and then going to how I end up at nose guard, or how do you want to
whatever way you think is best, because I just saw that on the recruiting sheet and I thought that was kind of funny to me.
Okay. So when I get recruited and everything, when you're getting recruited, they're recruiting you for one position. You know, they're going to tell you, oh, hey, we're going to use you as this and that and this and that. But they're recruiting you for one position. So it was like, hey, we want you at linebacker. Okay. You're going to play some fullback, but we want you at linebacker. I'm like, okay, y'all giving me the deal that I could play both sides of the ball. I get to college and man, bruh, the playbook, I'm like, oh my goodness. So they decided to redshirt me because I'm just not ready. I'm not ready. So, you know, if you ever play college football or you ever play on a scout team, you could play any position on the field on scout. You know, you may be a linebacker or you may be a DN or a cornerback or a safety, but if they need a person or a body in that spot, they're gonna put you there. So, you know, one day on scout team, they throw me on the D line. And I'm beating our starters.
Interesting.
I'm beating our starters. So they're like, okay, all right, okay. This is scout team, and you know, they're not taking it serious, whatever. So the bye week comes, and we have some injuries, you know, people trying to heal up. So they say, Rainey, get down there at nose guard. I said, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I just decided to run straight, like run through my gap. Like whatever it is, I'm gonna run through my gap. And I dominate practice.
Interesting.
I dominated. So the season ends, and when the winter break is over, so when you come back in January, they're like, they break us up. They say, hey, look, all right, team meeting, then you go to your position meetings, and then you leave. I go to the linebacker room. They say you're not in here no more.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean I'm not in here no more? Like, did y'all keep
nose tackle?
They're like, no, you're a nose tackle. I said, what? So I go to the defensive line room. I feel out of place. I call my mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm leaving. Like, I'm leaving. I want to transfer. I don't even know what this is. Like, I don't even know what this is. She says, look, give it a spring ball, you know, give it a spring ball. And then if you don't like it by the end of this year, you don't like it by the end of the semester, we can talk about transferring.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So so you were never recruited as a nose tackle. You kind of
no. Oh no.
So that just happened. Did you want to play nose tackle? Because like the way it sounds like
no.
Yeah.
I didn't want to play it at all.
Yeah.
I didn't want to play it at all.
Why was that? Because just because like nose tackle is one of those positions that's like you can play it, but like you're not gonna get recognized. But like
there is no and I want kids to understand this, and I want people to understand this. There's no recognition for nose guards. If you play nose guards, you do all the grunt work. You do all.
It's one of the most valuable positions on the
line. It's valuable, but you just get the worst of the worst at that position. You know what I'm saying? Now you can get accolades as you know, you can get rewards and all that, but it's not like the linebackers or the safeties or it's not like that. No.
So is that why you didn't want to play nose tackle, or is there actually a different reason?
Well, I didn't want to play it. You know, I didn't want to play it. They just put me down there. But once once I wrap my head around it, like, look, this is what I'm going to dominate this. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to dominate it. Then I fell in love with the position. I fell in love.
Yeah. So, I do want to rewind just a little bit back to the recruiting process because I thought that you made the recruiting process or the defensive tackle later on or during the recruiting process, I meant. Because I saw that on the sheet. I was like, that's very interesting. And you didn't play fullback either, right? Like in college.
I played tailback in high school. And then when I went to college, I played fullback.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll get into that later because I think fullback's also one of the most underappreciated.
Yes.
Yeah. And to be honest, it's one of my favorite positions, surprisingly, just because I don't know what it is, but something about a fullback running the ball and that they're going to truck a player every single time is just fun to watch.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Kyle Juszczyk, Andy Janovich, those guys are just fun to watch running the ball.
Oh yeah. Oh heck yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about them, but yeah. So back to the recruiting process. Now you made a video saying, well, once you were recruited to run or whenever you committed to Kent State, right? Mm-hmm. You got offered from one of your dream schools or whatever.
Yes.
And you didn't understand that. So, and you didn't know you could decommit.
Right. So basically I want kids to understand this too. When you sign that letter of intent, it's not a contract.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not set in stone the way they make it seem set in stone. You can get out of it, know. But when you're telling a kid, a 17-year-old kid gets his offer, and you're like, look, you need to go there. You need to sign now.
Oh yeah.
Like, and this is what my coach. This is what different people are telling me. So me being 17, I'm like, well, they never led me wrong. So why wouldn't I listen to them? Even though you can hold out. Like, I went on my recruiting trip after Thanksgiving. I went on my recruiting trip, and I went and I saw Kent State and everything like that. And the coach sat me down. The head coach, Doug Martin, sat me down and says, "We have 10 scholarships. You can accept it, or somebody else is going to take it."
Interesting.
Now, here's the problem. My recruiting class was 19 kids.
Oh.
So where did the 10 come from?
Yeah.
You only can sign 10, but 19 of us was there on scholarship. The math didn't add up to me. So that's why I'm trying to tell kids, take your time. They're supposed to get you into school. That's their job. Take your time. Take all the recruiting trips you want, because I promise you that school will be there. And if they're not, move on. Yeah.
So I'm guessing you enjoyed your time at Kent State though, because you didn't transfer. I mean, you said you wanted to transfer. Yeah, but luckily you talked to your mom and you didn't. But but did you actually enjoy your time at Kent State whenever you were there?
Kent State is a funny place because you're surrounded, like the MAC schools surround Ohio State. So Ohio State's the main attraction. Like that's the main attraction.
Yeah.
So you're not beating them out. So on the weekends, it's kind of slow. Like it's dead. Like we call it a dead campus. But was it fun? Yeah, it was fun at times. Kent State has the #1 Halloween party in the nation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's nuts. Like they're top 5 every year.
Really? That's interesting.
Like, people fly into Kent to go to our Halloween. Like it's weird. It's weird. It's so weird. But you have some good times. You have your bad times. I got homesick, but it was an experience.
So now you said earlier in the video that you did not understand the recruiting system. Now looking back at it, do you kind of understand it more than you did whenever you were a 17-year-old? Okay.
Yeah.
So what were some issues that you had or not issues, but something you didn't understand that you could maybe tell yourself currently?
If I could go back and tell myself what to look for, the things like the promises, they're there to promise you the world. We promise you, you're gonna do this and do that and do this and do that. And guess what? It may not be a fit for you. That may not be a fit for you. really walk the campus. And if you're going to go in major, like I know kids want to go to the NFL and all that, but if you want to be realistic, go to the school that has the best major for you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, find out about their majoring system, research the school, research the lineup, the depth chart. You know, they're going to tell you, oh, you can come and play as a freshman if you ball out. Well, yeah, that's anywhere. But what about how long do I have to sit behind this guy and that guy? Those things are things people need to ask, because it's great that you're going to Alabama. It's great, but Alabama has a roster full of 5 stars, full of NFL talent.
That's true. Their team is basically an NFL team,
right? And that's why a lot of kids transfer, because they're not playing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what I would tell myself. Like, go back and do the research, and weigh your options. Go, you know what I'm saying? See how far it is away from home and all that. Like, do all that. You know?
Yeah, and it's like, so you kind of mentioned it earlier, basically saying like where you should really look at like the education, and I think like if you're not the biggest recruit and you get like an offer from a really good team football wise, but you're not gonna get much playing time there, would you rather take that over somewhere where like it has a good education? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because football, like especially football, it's not guaranteed that you even make it 4 years.
Right.
It really isn't. And I think now with the NIL getting like, and I'll get into this later, but now it's kind of like you do have an opportunity outside of football if like your football dreams don't pan out, you know, whatever. I think there is insurance at some point where like if you do get injured, I think you keep your scholarship or something.
Yes.
So it's not like you lose your scholarship because you're not playing. But football is really just not guaranteed. It's there's maybe a 25% chance you play the full.
Right. And you know what kids don't understand is your scholarship is renewed every year. It's not like people always say, oh, you're getting a full ride, a 4-year scholarship. No, it's a yearly contract, you know, every year. So if your coach says, you know what, nah, I want to take a scholarship next year.
They can't do that.
He can do that. He can take it, you know, and
with no problems.
Right, with no problem. Now, does that happen a lot? No. But say if a new coach come in and he want to bring in his players, you know, he can pull your scholarship. You know,
I've seen that happen to a lot of people, I think. And there's sometimes where like I think Cam Newton had it where he got into some off the field issues, and they're still young. Like people are young, college, like they're you leave college at maybe 20 at youngest, but you're 18 whenever you reach college. You know, so you might do something off the field and then get your scholarship taken away. But there's that stuff that happens. There's just like off the field stuff you can control, but injuries, stuff like that you just can't control. But if you do go to a school that has like, if you go to like Duke or something, or Rice, you know, if you get a scholarship there, I think that's way better than taking a scholarship to Alabama if you're not going to play at Alabama that much.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So now let's get into like Kent State, right? So when you're there, you said you were on the scout team, right? So that was so I'm guessing that was a big deal for you, at least getting to nose tackle, because you found your spot there. But later on, you said that Brian Winters was playing on the team, right?
Yes.
Or was it on freshman whenever you were a freshman?
No, he was a fresh. If I can think back correctly, I think he was a freshman when I was a junior, or something like that. Like either I was a senior, he was a freshman. It was something like that. But he was years behind me. I know that he was years behind me. So he was like a freshman or sophomore. Somewhere like that.
So whenever you did so there was competition, at least in practice. So did that So did that actually like make you better at nose tackle playing a foreign position?
Yes. So basically, if I could just put how big I was 5'9", 225 pounds, playing nose guard. You know, so every guy on my face, right? So every guy on my team, just on my team, you're talking about 6'2", 6'3", uh 280, 290, like that's the range they're in on our team. So that prepared me just for the regular season. And when I mean the regular season, I don't mean like the whole season, because the regular season is actually when you playing your division opponents. That's what we call the regular season.
Oh,
so the season before the season before your regular season, we call the kind of like your out of conference, kind of call it like the preseason. Now we know that we have one cupcake team.
Okay.
We used to play like Delaware State or Townsend or Coastal Carolina. Like those were our cupcake teams. So we're going to win those.
Yeah.
But we got Boston College. We got Iowa State. We got Kentucky. We got Baylor. Like, we had 1 year, my freshman year, we had Ohio State. My senior year, we had Penn State. So those games were just preparing us for the regular season, is what we call it, against division opponents. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So, yeah, man, it was something. It was something.
I mean, and it was crazy because I was gonna bring it up earlier, but you said you were 5'9" playing defensive tackle.
Yeah.
And it's crazy thing because like defensive tackle, like there's guys who's like 6'7", 6, whatever, right? And I mean, Aaron Donald's considered short. He was supposed to be like undersized. He was 6'1".
Right.
But, yeah. So being 5'9", did that really affect you, like, in a way?
No, because I only had what I could work with. You know, I couldn't make excuses. You know, I couldn't say, you know, oh, I wish I was taller. Yeah, of course I wish I was taller. But I worked with what I worked with. So if I knew that my arms wasn't as long as my opponent's arms or whatever, then I knew I had to beat him to the punch. That means I had to be faster off the ball. And he knows the snap count. So, you know,
that's true. That is true.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I had to rely on.
So, and you just mentioned snap count. So that's not something, well, I mean, you learn it as running back, whatever, playing offense and a linebacker, but being right next to like the line, did you ever have like issues like with false starts or whatever all the time?
All the time. We played I think it was like Coastal Carolina. And my coach told us before the game even started, he said the guy gives great hard counts. I said, okay. All right, cool, no problem. Game starts. I jump off sides at least 3 times. Like the guy gets up there. He's really good at it. He gets into it, and I'm like, bro, I'm going. I'm going. No, I don't give a care if the ball moved or not. I'm going. Yeah. And you know, I had to run a lot of I had to do a lot of up downs that Sunday. But
that sounds very fun.
Yeah, but I had a big issue because I had to jump. I had to jump.
Especially being right down the line. And as we just mentioned, like you were undersized for a defense tackle, so I mean you had to kind of get out that and jump that snap. But there's I don't think people realize how good it is, like how underrated it is to have a great hard count. Like Matt Stafford has a great hard count. It's being loud. Like I heard a story basically like watching a game. Apparently you could hear Matt Stafford from outside the stadium. I don't know if that's true, but like it amplifies it. But like you could hear him snapping the ball like from outside the stadium, and that was the crazy part. Like having a snap count like that, I don't think you could actually hear him from the other side of the stadium, but the stadium doesn't amplify it. But
yeah, you know, it's stories like that though.
Yeah,
it's real.
And it was one of those like TV like eye catchers that I've seen a lot of people use that, and it's the crazy part because people want to use that, and it's like there'll be like some stats on the screen that comes up. There's one that someone's trying to show that like Daniel Jones versus Peyton Manning in the first 20 starts. I'm a Giants fan, so I did try to use it to my advantage, but it's just simply not true. It's simply not true.
Yeah, I definitely understand it. Thank you, baby.
So yeah, but so around sophomore year, did you kind of get more like accustomed to defensive tackle and more sound?
Around I would say it was my junior year when I got accustomed to it. So what I ended up doing was I would go back home and everything. What I would do is I would play audios of hard counts. Now that may sound weird, but you'll be surprised how many quarterbacks use the same hard count.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's very common, and I didn't know how common it was. So I would just listen to them like in a headphone. Like when people, I think I'd be like walking to class, listening to music. No, I was listening to like hard counts and trying to time it, and try to time these things while walking to class, So I became better at it to the point where in practice, I would be sometimes almost in the backfield when the quarterback is getting the ball.
Really?
Yeah, I became that good at it,
Interesting.
So
yeah. So when do you think you kind of made that step? Like, when did you become a starter?
I became a starter my junior year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think from that point on you had learned the position completely just outside the stats? Yeah.
Yeah, I learned the position inside and out to the point where I did so much stuff, man, that a lot of people don't even know about. But shout out to Coach McDaniels, my position coach. He worked with me every day. He worked with me even when we were outside of football, and it's kind of like that downtime and stuff like that. That's where me and him was working, and he got me right. He got me right for the position, and he helped me improve. He really did.
So you said junior, right? So when did you start like getting NFL attention, or like when did you learn about that? Like,
okay, so basically I didn't have no NFL interest because nobody wants a 225 million. Like that's not even a thing.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is I'm training, I'm working out, and I started to send my tape out. I started to send my little disc of snippets or whatever. But I went back and I said, you know what? They're not going to recruit me. They're not going to select me as a nose guard. So what I did was I went and took my fullback highlights of blocking and stuff like that, and I just sent that out. I just started sending it out, trying to get some looks. I got some interest from the only one team was the Buffalo Bills at the time, and that was really it. You know what I'm saying? And that was really it. So after my pro day and everything, they reached out to me after the draft. I didn't get drafted. I didn't care about none of that stuff. Like I just, and they were going to bring me in, but I already had injury to my knee. When they checked me out, it was like, we can't really use you until you heal up. And by that time, man, I was really like, it didn't break my heart, but it felt like I made it just because I even got the interest. You know what I'm saying? Like I just got to look. I just got somebody's interest to look at me. And when I got there, I was at the facility. I'm excited. And when they checked me out, they were like, "Something wrong with your knee?" I was like, "Yeah, I banged it up in workouts and everything." And they were like, "We might bring you back." And I was like, "All right, okay." And I never got the call, so I was okay.
Yeah. So did you really like? I'm guessing like you wanted to play. Like, I mean, if you're playing football at a collegiate level, I'm guessing your dream is to play the NFL. But did you really like care in a way?
I think after a while, after all the training and the practices, everything you go through to get to the league. And once I was there, I was really losing the love for the sport. I was losing it in the aspect of playing the sport. I still love the game, but I just didn't have it in me to go through another camp, to go hit somebody, because people see the glitz and the glamour, they see the money, but you don't see what you're putting your body through. Like, so I was like, no, I'm okay.
And that's low-key. I mean, it was funny because basically whenever I was young, I just used to be, I want to play in the NFL. I want to play in the NFL. And I was like, and it's funny because people always bug me around because I'm 6'2" right now and I'm only 16. And people are like, you have the athlete's body. You just need, if only you were a little bit more athletic or whatever. I'm like, I'm not playing football again. That's what you're trying. I'm not playing football again.
Right.
Like, stop it. Like, because I played one year and I also had like knee issues and whatever. But that second year, I came back to practice one day. I just couldn't do it. Like,
yeah.
But and now I got a podcast because I still love the sport, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, people don't realize like how tough it is actually off the field with like going through camp or just like training. You know what I mean? Like practice.
Yeah.
Just like physically, it's enduring. You have to have endurance. And people like Larry Fitzgerald, I just don't understand how he does it. Playing receiver, just not wanting to retire. Tom Brady apparently came out. I don't know if you saw the reports. He had a torn meniscus, MCL.
Yeah, like Tom, but and this is the difference with a quarterback and a wide receiver and somebody that's constantly getting hit. As a quarterback, you don't get hit that much.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like when people talk about like, oh, he got sacked, the most times in history. Yeah. Well, you got to think there's guys that get hit every play.
Yeah, every single play.
Right, and
then linemen they get hit every single play.
And from that, like just from that, they do 80 snaps a game or something like that. Mm-hmm. And you got to times that by 16 plus the playoffs. So I give quarterbacks and wide receivers credit. I give everybody in the NFL credit, but understand they're not getting hit like an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman is. Like I praise Aaron Donald because that's, he's getting hit every play, compared to Tom over here that had to play with a torn MCL. Like, well, you can do that when you play quarterback and don't get hit. Like,
and especially if you play like Tom Brady, who doesn't even hold on to the ball for like 2 seconds.
Right. So like, it's like, come on. So,
I think there's probably I'm trying to think of any old linebackers really. And I guess the first person that came to mind that played a long time that I can think of is probably Lorenzo Alexander, who played till he was like 37 or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just unheard of. Like we always hear like running backs, their lifespan at a running back is probably only 30 years. And that's why people are kind of scared about Saquon returning because he just, tore his ACL. It's tough for a running back. But QB, you can get hit and like you can slow down at 32.
Right. Right.
Like, I mean, you're in your prime. You're probably not in your prime, but you're not slowing down either.
Right. So we have to understand as fans that a quarterback's lifespan in the NFL if he's great, let's say he's a great player, can be from 10 to 15 years. Mm-hmm. 10 to 15 years. I think Tom is in 22.
I don't know what Tom's in. He's older. His career is like he's been playing longer than I've been alive. Like
right. Like so, it's great. You know what I'm saying? The longevity is great, but Tom didn't start to slow down until year 18 or 19. Yeah. He didn't start slowing down until then. So for a running back, it really depends on how much punishment he's taking in his usage rate. I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like running backs are used differently now than back in the day. But I think Emmitt Smith did, I want to say like 12 years, somewhere around there. Like, that's great. That's great for a running back. That's almost impossible.
But then there's also players like Bo Jackson, who's probably one of the greatest athletes ever to play football. But he only played 3 seasons.
Yeah, but he also played baseball.
Yeah, he also played baseball.
So
he was able to fall back. He was able to fall back.
Yeah, so if Bo was, I think, to me, if Bo Jackson would have just played football, he'd have been the greatest running back ever. Yeah. I don't think there would have been any discrepancy there.
I don't think so. I think if he played, even if he played probably, I'll give him 9 years the way he played, you could, I think you could make the argument, but I think he probably, if he doesn't have to train for baseball, doesn't have to go through all that, his body's good for, football only, he's the greatest. He's easily the most talented running back I think we've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
The greatest athlete. There's stories of him running a 4.2 or whatever.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, and I could believe that. That's the craziest part. Like, I don't know who it was. I saw someone say that some player ran a 4.1. I'm like, they did not. But if you told me Bo Jackson run a 4.1, I would actually kind of believe you.
Yeah, I think Dion ran a 4. If I'm not mistaken, I think he talked about it, and he ran a 4.19 or something like that. Like,
yeah, it was Dion.
Yeah, Dion had a story like that. I think Bo said he ran like a 4.2, like a flat 4.2. Like,
yeah,
like that's come on, man, that's crazy.
But I'll say this: I think Bo said that he ran that in high school. I think.
Man, come on, man, really? Come on.
I don't know.
Crazy.
I don't know. Like, and he said he didn't stop running. I watched an interview. He didn't stop running. They had to open up the gates for him to keep running.
Yeah.
Bo Jackson stories are just
amazing. Oh yeah, they're unbelievable.
Yeah, he's probably the superhero of the NFL. It's crazy. It's like because he never really
did. Myth. He's the greatest myth of the NFL.
Yeah. Because like he never really did anything. If you think about it, he never really did anything. He never had. I mean, I think he had 1,000-yard season. He never, he didn't.
Yeah.
There's not much value whenever you look at like stats. Like he's not gonna go down as even a top 50 running back if you think about like what he did. Yeah. But
he left an impression on you. He left an impression on everybody.
Everyone knows who Bo is. Bo knows.
Bo knows.
Bo knows. And he was the serial box cover athlete of the NFL. Like he was.
Yeah.
He could sell, but then Dion, he's an athlete. I think he played receiver for a good amount of snaps like that. But then there's players like what's his name, Tavon Austin, whose highlight tape out of college
was amazing.
It
was amazing.
And it's funny because I just watched a TikTok the other day, and it was basically like what was it? It was 2011 or whatever, and they played the start of like one of his mixtape with the Hellenback song in the background.
Oh yeah,
and everyone knows who's coming on. You don't even have to. For a fact.
Yeah, you knew who it was. His 2 highlight tapes that he had were so amazing that I didn't know the song. I didn't know the name of the song. That I was trying to download it one day, and I didn't know the name of the song. So I went to the video to get the song. Like, that's how much I played it and watched it because it was so amazing.
Oh, it's funny you say that because there's a jersey on my wall right here, LaRon Landry jersey, who's one of my favorite players of all time. And I did the same thing. There's one highlight tape of him that I watched with like a 50 Cent song playing in the background. I liked the song because I liked his highlights. I don't know what it was. Like an athlete with a highlight tape can make the song better. Like they should just use that and stuff. They should really just start using athletes instead of making music videos.
Absolutely. They'll get more views.
Yes,
they'll get more views.
Like if you take prime OBJ highlights and play that with any song currently, I think your music video is getting at least 10 million.
If you can match a good song with his highlights, it's a match made in heaven. It's a match.
Yeah. It's just crazy to me that's the thing. But yeah. Anyway, so now that we talked about your football career, right? And I wanted to get into your we could call it post football career, but like and some other stuff, just like simple stuff, like so with TikTok, where did your idea of like scouting or critiquing these high school athletes come from?
It actually came from a coworker. So
interesting.
A coworker and I were sitting at work, just sitting there chatting it up, and he brings up a kid. I forgot the kid's name, but he brings up his highlights.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, man, wow, he false step right there. And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, he's false stepping. Like he continues to false step. Every highlight he has, he's false stepping. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's bad tackling. Yeah. And he's like, why don't you do this full time? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't know why I don't do it full time. But I was like, man, let me just take it to TikTok. I picked a kid from Rivals or something. I picked a random kid from Rivals. And it got so much love because people think since they have 5 stars
They're good.
That they're just
they're sound. They're like they're good. They're good, of course, but like they're just like completely perfect.
Right, they're just perfect. And I'm just like, y'all need to look at them as
they're
just
still a high school athlete.
Right. These are high school athletes.
Yeah. They've never played NFL talent. I mean, they've played NFL talent. They've never played an NFL player or
right. And you're going against when you look at a highlight, and this is something I'm trying to get people to understand. A highlight is their best plays. And if I'm able to look at your best plays and point out things that you're doing wrong, there's an issue. That your coach
Definitely
is not coaching you up. Like he's not coaching you up. He's not putting you in the right position to be a better player. And and this is what I started doing, and man, it just took off. And now I got hundreds of people tagging me in videos, like and it's just going.
It was funny because I was watching a video of a high school athlete, and what like the videos that you like stitch or duet, right? And it was funny because I went to the comments, I started looking for your name because I knew for a fact people were gonna tag you in it. And like the first few comments, I have to scroll down as I already see it at Mr.Lightwork. You should do a video on this guy.
Right. And and it just took off from there, and now I'm having 5-star like guys, athletes in my DMs like, hey man, can you really critique my video and tell me what I'm doing wrong? Like, and I know he's not gonna get mad I use his name or anything, but CJ Hicks, I think he's going to Ohio State, if I'm not mistaken. I did a video on him. He hit me up. He said, hey man, can you look at my highlights? You know what I'm saying? You won't be disappointed. I saw some things that he did wrong, but I saw a lot of right. So I know that his coach was coaching him up, and after I did the video, he didn't get mad. He didn't, oh, you're trying to dog me out like some parents, and some athletes, videos I've done. So, I appreciate it. I appreciate the good and the bad, so.
Yeah. Except I think now with the whole Rivals thing, I think you've gotten into some bad. You and Rivals haven't been on the prettiest of terms.
No, so they blocked. So
yeah.
So basically, if I could just tell you what happened. So basically, I do a video, I green screen it. So when I green screen it, they don't get the notification.
Oh.
They don't get the notification.
Oh.
So I thought it was better that I green screen it instead of trying to stitch it, because once I stitch it, the video, you can't see the video anymore.
Yeah, you can't see it. Yeah.
So what I did was I said, look, let me use this as film study, put the video behind me and tell y'all what they're doing wrong and show y'all what they're doing wrong. And Rivals hit my comments one day, and they're like, people are tagging Rivals, like they're tagging Rivals, and they're giving it to Rivals, like they're like they're pissed at Rivals, like why would you post this highlight? Why would you post that highlight? And this, that, and the third. So Rivals kind of be like, well, you not coming, like you didn't tag us in the video, you didn't let us know, and then I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to do all that? And then one day I just wake up and I go, I'm looking through my following, not my following, my the videos I follow, the pages I follow, and I don't see Rivals anymore. And I'm like, what? And I realized they blocked me. So I was like, all right. So people still send me the clips. They still send me the clips of all these players. And it's just funny, man. I just get a good laugh out of it now. But
yeah, that's hilarious. I watched the video. I just watched like that video of you, and I was like, yeah, that's interesting, because so they were basically just getting like not really hate comments, but they were getting some bad comments towards them because of your videos, and that's why they kind of blocked you, I'm guessing.
Yeah, they blocked me because of what I was saying. But what I'll try to get people to understand is this. Look,
I mean, you weren't really dogging them out. You were just I
wasn't even dogging nobody.
Yeah, no.
But
you're just critiquing the players.
Right, I was critiquing the players, but the fact that they felt that way lets me know that I was doing something right. Lets me know that I was doing something right. Now, you have people out there that don't like my videos, and that's fine. It's okay. I'm not mad at y'all for not liking my videos, but it's the people that come into my comment section saying they're just kids.
Oh, they are just kids.
Right. They're just kids. But here's what I want people to understand. They're getting critiqued by other grown men that sit in the office, you know what I'm saying? That sit in the office and say, oh, he's a bad player. Just because I'm saying it aloud and they're saying it in private, don't make it no difference.
Yeah.
You know, that's and that's what it is. But when they be like, oh, don't critique him so hard. He's a kid. Well, what do you think Nick Saban is doing? What do you think Les Miles and Dabo Sweeney? What do you think they're doing? They're not patting these kids on the back and saying, okay, yeah, you're good. Go on, next play. Yeah. No, they're saying, no, that was trash. Do it this way. Or if you can't do it this way,
they wouldn't be great coaches if they did that.
Right. But you see what I'm saying, though? Like,
yeah,
you may not be saying that they're trash, but they're saying it in a different way. Like, look, you need to do this. And if
they might be saying it worse, to be honest.
Right. Come on, man. Yeah. Like, people, have you ever been at a practice? Like, there's some cuss words thrown out. Like, I think that's words. Yeah. Like, yeah. But that's what it is. And people don't like it because I'm saying it aloud.
And you know the crazy part? It's funny because you say that, and you're restricted kind of to what you say, but like a coach isn't. But if someone hears a coach talk to a player, it's like, oh yeah, they're just coaching him up.
Yeah. Right.
Tough love.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're just coaching them up. It's tough love.
Yeah.
That makes every excuse for a coach.
Yeah, but also coach has a system and plan. Like they're not going to teach like every single aspect. Like, you know, a coach might want a kid to learn a swim move, whatever, right? But, you know, and they might be good at it, right? But they might not have a great like spin move or whatever, right? And they're not really learning that. And once you get to a point when you need to learn that, and we'll go into spin move later because I wanted you to share a story about that you talked about earlier. So, but yeah, then you play competition that's just better from where you've been coached, you know, and that's why like coaches finally have like been kind of held accountable, and now we kind of see like NFL, they're like, oh yeah, this is clearly not the player. There's something coaching wise, like, you know, but yeah. So I brought it up earlier. I wanted you to share a story about Dwight Freeney, and the clip that you showed on the video was one of my favorite plays ever by DeMarcus, where the half spin. But I just wanted you to go ahead and tell that story real quick. Because
all right. So here's the story. So we go into the meeting room one day, and my coach has like a full, like, it's probably about 10 minutes of clips of pass rush moves, and I'm in awe, like, because I didn't know some of these moves even existed, you know. Like,
yeah,
the way I was taught, you have a good bull rush, counter, and a speed rush move. So when I'm looking at this video, I'm in awe, right? So I see Dwight Freeney hit this man with the meanest fake spin, like it. Oh my god, it was so pretty, right? He hit him with it, came back around, made the sack. I was like, I got to do the move. Like, I got to do it. So I stand up in the meeting room, and I'm like, y'all, I'm gonna hit this move in practice, and if it works, I'm hitting it in the game. They say, yo, Q, I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but go do it. Like, if that's what you want to go do it.
Yeah.
So it's around 10th period. Now, if you don't know the period thing, college practices are broken up into 5 periods. Like, so it's like not 5 periods, like 5-minute periods. So every time the horn goes off, it's another period. You know, you go do something else. So we go to 5-on-4 full line. So that means that we're going to rush the offensive line, our 4 versus their 5, and they're going to have to block us no matter what we do. So we run our games. Games are 2 to 4-man twists. You don't know what a twist game is, to your listeners. That means there's a penetrator, then there's a looper. All right, penetrator, looper. So in this game right here, it's called a me game. Me game. It's called a me game. So the DN is going first. I'm moving around. Oh yeah, I'm gonna hit it. I know I'm gonna hit it. So it was actually my teammate Monte. He ended up going to the playing for the 49ers. He goes, he penetrates, and I'm looping around. and I see Brian Winters now. Y'all don't know how big a man is. Oh. He blocks out the sun. Like he's like the Hulk. he blocks out the sun.
Yeah.
So I go and I set him up. It was beautiful. When I set him up, I go, and he grabs my back and he face plants me in the ground.
Oh.
It was like it shut down practice. Like it. Oh. Everybody stopped.
Oh.
Like, how loud that boom was to the ground. Like boom. It was so loud. So when I got up, I had all the rubber pellets, the face mask. Coach McDaniel pulls me to the side. He says, yeah, I don't think you should do that move again.
Please don't do it again.
Please don't do it again. And we started laughing, man. It was probably one of the funniest days of my life because, I tried it. It didn't work. It's a story I hold on to this day. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it because that's how funny it was. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how classic of a day that was.
So now, wait, so that was brought up in a film session, right? So what were they trying to teach you during the film session?
Okay, so basically we were struggling that year. We were struggling to get sacks. We were struggling. And it seemed like when you watch this on tape, we did not have a pass. Like, we didn't rush the passer well. Oh. So when they pulled these clips of these NFL talents, it was these great NFL pass rushes and all that. It was to show us like, hey, look, if they can do it, you can do it. It's like it was motivation. And after that session, we went on like a I think we went on like a sack record in Kent State history. Like it was nuts. Like I think we broke the record on my last game of my senior year, but we broke the record. So it was crazy, and it started from that day. It started from that day. So
interesting. That's interesting. So basically, I want to wrap this up with basically who are some players right now? High school. We'll start off with high school. Who are some players that stand out to you as a high school players?
Oh man, there's so great. There's so many. I would have to go through my list of people, but CJ Hicks right now, I think he's going to Ohio State. I got my eye on him. I have so many guys, man. Shoot, because I review so much tape, and I have so many guys in my my Instagram, my DMs that I'm talking to every day, helping get better. It's so many. So what I do is I will send you a list of them because there's so many guys that I watch. Because I don't just sit around and be like, I'm gonna watch just you.
Yeah.
I watch probably around in high school, around 50 guys. Like around 50 some guys, so it's because I want them to understand that anytime they can reach out to me and say, hey, look, here's my tape from this game. Where did I mess up at? What can I do wrong? I want that relationship with these kids because I know everybody's patting them on the back. Hey, you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Hey, good job. No, come over here, sit in coach's office. Let me tell you that this was terrible, and let's get better. So it's just so many to talk
because
about.
coaches, as much as like you might think like you're the only like they're only coaching you up, they gotta worry about 56 or 53 players on one NFL or one team. And just on the D line, there's 7 players in the box.
Right.
They're not worried about what you're doing if you really think about it. Like they are worried about if it works or not.
If you're producing, and this is just me being honest. If you're producing on the field, don't matter if you're taking the wrong step, bad, like it doesn't matter. If you're producing, they don't care because coaches at the end of the day are ranked by wins and losses. They're not ranked by how many kids they save, you know what I'm saying, or how many kids they take off the street. They're not looked at in that regard. They're looked at as wins and losses. So I try to tell each and every player, look, take your destiny in your own hands. Like one kid I'm talking to, they wanted to move him to linebacker.
Oh.
I said, are you comfortable with that? He says, not really, but we have an all-state line. Oh. I said, okay, that's great. But if you're a mediocre linebacker, that's going to hurt your chance of being recruited. I say, go out there for the first scrimmage or whatever y'all have going on. Go out there, see what you can do. And if you don't like it, ask your coach to put you back. 2 weeks later, coach moved me back. Because I wanted him to understand, like, look, stop trying to, you got to be selfish. As a high school athlete, sometimes you have to be selfish. If you want to get to the next level, you have to be selfish. You have to take your future in your own hands. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to get these kids to understand.
Yeah, I mean, for coaches, really, if you think about it, like this is a job for them. Yeah. It's a job for them.
Right.
Like they could really, like, to be honest, I don't think a coach checks up with a college player after they leave college. Like,
right. Okay. So you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like they really don't, like, yeah, if you do great, like if you become like the greatest player ever, then maybe they want to check up on you, might, you know what I mean? I coached that guy, but they don't really care if you're just a mediocre athlete in the NFL.
Right.
Like, all they care about is how many wins did they get with you at the D-line.
They know that if they get you to the NFL, you're a great recruiting tool for the next couple kids.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what it is. Because now, like when you go to Kent State, there's a big poster of Julian Edelman, Jack Ham, James Harrison, like Antonio Gates, like all these guys went to this school. It's a great recruiting tool. It's great. It's amazing. To say, yeah, I got him to the NFL. I got him, to where he is.
But that's only 3 players out of how many did they coach?
Right.
Like at least 1,000.
Right. They coach. You got to think they coach thousands of players in years. They coach thousands and thousands of players.
Like really, that ratio is not that great. Like
it's not. But the fact that,
because they were great in the NFL,
it works. It's a great tool
as we mentioned earlier, they're like the kids going into college are not that much older than me. They're only 17, maybe, right? When they see Antonio Gates on the poster and they was like, oh wow, he touched, like he was here, he was in this locker room. This was, you know what I mean? Julian Edelman was here. This was his school. This was his helmet, his whatever. It's like, oh, he came, but you didn't think about that other guy, that the 5th string backup that was here. That's probably, that's probably where you're gonna be starting for a good amount of time.
Right? Like they don't talk about the middle linebacker that now is a top surgeon. Yeah. And that's what Kent State has. Like like my one of my classmates, Dorian Wood, he's now I think a surgeon of some sort. Like he's topping his feet. Like he's up there.
But they don't point that out.
But they won't point it out. They won't point it out.
The medical field people will. The people who are they will. Absolutely. But the coach, he doesn't worry about that. He's not a surgeon. He's not coaching you to become a surgeon.
Right. You think they care? Do you think they care about the surgeon or Julian Edelman? No, they care about Julian Edelman.
Yeah. So I want to ask you so I never saw Julian Edelman play football or quarterback. Well, you said that you did play or see him play a little bit. What was it like just watching him? Because he was a gadget player, I think.
Julian Edelman, and I say this, I always say this. He was not a quarterback.
Yeah.
He was how Army and Navy like play with their quarterback? That's how Julian was. Julian just had a decent arm with it.
He could just throw the ball.
He could throw the ball. So we ran speed option. Man, I hated seeing the play so much. Ran the play so much. And then my sophomore year, we went more to the read option type thing without the pass though. Like it was just the read option. So you know how like now we have the RPO and like that. Yeah, it was just the read option part. So he ran that, man. He ran that to perfection.
Yeah. I remember like I was watching a video yesterday where I didn't realize they did this, but with RG3, they basically added that pass there, that screen. They ran the ball 8 times, read options his first 8 plays, and his first like few completions were screen passes. I did not even know that.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but how annoying was it whenever it was a screen or a read option, and you got off the block, but then to look back, and that was the whole point of the play.
Oh, he's gone. Like, he's out of there. When we used to practice. So in practice, you're not allowed to touch the quarterback.
Oh.
and Julian would pull the ball 8 times out of 10. Like, he would pull the ball. Like, and it's like, we can't touch you.
You can't touch him.
Right. We can't even get close to you. Like, I'll never forget it. One time, I don't know. I beat the guard. I beat him. And I get close to Julian, and Coach Martin yells at me. I just want to like call it in a corner and just die the way he just yelled at me. I was like, bro, like, this is football. I don't understand. And he was like, you don't ever get close to the quarterback. Never did after that again. Like, I just run past him. Just run past him. But you know, that you learn. You know what I'm saying? You learn.
Yeah. So we talk about high school athletes, right? So what about NFL players? Who are some NFL players that you think are going to go are taking up a level and are going to become great?
Well, we already spoke on Aaron Donald. I think he's going to be great.
I think he's already great. I think he might be.
I mean, I think he may be the best. I mean, like at the end of the day, like when his career is over, he may put him at number 1 D tackle ever. You know,
I think he's already there. To be honest,
even though it's opinionated,
I
think that's going to be like a consensus number 1, like Aaron Donald, like hands down.
Yeah.
You know, I think Jalen Ramsey is a true mixture of like Primetime and Revis.
Oh yeah.
He's physical, but he shuts down the side of it. Like he shuts it down.
Revis's prime was something else.
Right. Revis Island was
greatest prime as a corner ever. He shut down Randy Moss. Who else? There's Calvin Johnson.
We got Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson. I think he had like at the time Brandon Marshall. He shut down.
Yeah.
Like it was a lot of Ocho Cinco. I think he had.
There was every great receiver basically had to play him, and every great receiver failed to get 50 yards at least against him.
Right. So I think like I said, Jalen. I love DeAndre Hopkins. Who else? I love seeing Tyreek play.
Oh yeah.
And then you got your quarterbacks. You got your Aaron Rodgers, you got your Pat Mahomes, your Tom Brady's. A guy that I can't wait to see play is Trevor Lawrence. I can't wait to see him play. Trey Lance.
I was going to say he's a guy that I think is not being talked about a lot.
Yeah, he's not being talked about.
I think people don't realize how he's in a perfect position to succeed.
Yes.
The 49ers just needed one quarterback, and they were injured. They didn't do good because their whole team was basically in the hospital at the time.
Right. Yeah. So I think him and Justin Fields. I would love to see how Justin Fields turns around Chicago.
Yeah.
So
I think also he's in a perfect position. I mean, they were also a quarterback away, I think.
Right.
Mitch Trubisky really held him back. He's a backup now with the Bills.
Right. Like, could you imagine? Like, I couldn't imagine. I was a first-round draft pick, and now not even in my second contract.
He was taken over Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson.
Right.
And now he's a backup, and he's not there to be mentored. Josh Allen's better than him and younger than him.
But that's the problem with one-hit wonders. That's the problem with Yeah, I
didn't understand the whole Mitch Trubisky thing because I remember him coming out of college. I was like, who is this guy?
Right.
Because I said Mahomes was going to be the best out of that draft class. People don't believe me for that. I didn't say he was going to be the greatest quarterback of all time, which he might be.
Right.
But I did say that. So,
but when you have people in the league that, he has a big arm. The one thing I hate watching is when they throw on air and they're like, oh my God, that was an amazing throw.
Oh,
it's on air. Like, a lot of guys can make the throw on air. Can he make the same throw when a guy's running at him and he has to put it in a window that only, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I want to see. I don't want to see on air or in t-shirt and shorts. Like, no, I don't want to see that.
There was a video yesterday. I think it was like this guy was making a top 10 greatest throws of all time. There was a throw by Kirk Cousins made where he took a shot to the legs, threw it in between two defenders. Now, that's something I want to see. I'm not saying that Kirk Cousins is all that, but that's still a great throw. And that's probably holds more value than Mitch Trubisky throwing a wide open pat. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah. Anyways, I think that concludes my questions. Did you have any questions for me?
No, man. Look, I appreciate you for even reaching out to me, man.
I appreciate you coming on the show.
Hey, man. Shout outs to you, man. 99 yards, man. I appreciate you, man. Sure. It's been a true blessing, man, having this conversation with you, man, and everything. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, maybe we can get this going some other time and get you back on the show.
Yeah, man. You hit me up anytime, man.
Sure. As we said earlier, I mean, your TikTok's growing, and wish you luck and keep going. Keep it up.
I appreciate it, man. Shout out to 99 yards, man.
Yeah, thank you for coming on the show as well. And for sure, again, we'll be excited to have you again. If we ever do that. And yeah,
man. I will hit you up to let you know who I'll be looking at this upcoming season for my high school. And I'll throw some college guys in there as well. Yeah, for sure. I'll look through the list, and because I'm excited to see that, because I don't think I could look through 500 players, man, like you do. It's hundreds of film, but there's not a day I don't get excited about seeing it. You know what I'm saying? Seeing how good players have gotten since I've played, and things I can still do to help them out. So again, thank you for coming on the show again. But no problem. Anyways, that's gonna do it for me. If you wanted to go ahead and sign us off, go ahead and do that. All right, man. It's your boy, Mr. Lightwork, man. Shout out to 99 yards for having me, man. But we are out of here. Got to go put this work in, all right? Yes, sir. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.